Don't settle for bad socks. Get comfort and grip at an affordable price with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Choose from 18 different colors at puregripsocks.com.
You probably don't think of New Balance when you think of great indoor boots, but maybe you should. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the New Balance Audazzo V6 Pro, the brand's flagship indoor boot featuring a soft leather upper with an emphasis on breathability, the option of regular as well as wide fit versions, just like their top-end FG models, fresh foam for the cushion in the midsole, and a really high quality outsole featuring great traction, all for a super fair price tag of $120 at full retail. Which obviously isn't cheap, but it's less expensive than quite a few indoor models that I don't think are anywhere near as good in terms of features as well as overall quality. They're also conveniently priced exactly the same as another popular indoor model with very similar features in the $120 Nike Lunar Gato 2. This of course begs the question, do you go with Old Faithful or try something new? Well, we're going to discuss exactly that in today's video as we go over all the details of the Audazzo V6 Pro, including how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, and if you are interested in a pair for yourself, you can pick these up below their normal retail prices by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes via the link down below. And as always, if you enjoy these brutally honest reviews on the channel, don't forget to drop a like on this one and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already so you don't miss out on my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2024. So first things first, the upper, which has been designed in a very futsal specific way in that you have that emphasis on breathability where there are physical holes in the leather itself as well as a breathability element to this mesh where light will actually make its way through. And then something that I didn't realize because they don't really show it all that well in any of the tech specs or pictures on their website, internally the boot is lined with mesh, which is very reminiscent of the Hypershield liner that we used to see on the Nike Tiempo Legend 5. Part of the reason why that upper felt so soft and flexible is just because that mesh backing to the soft kangaroo leather allowed for very little restriction. While this definitely is not kangaroo leather, instead it's listed as full grain leather on New Balance's website, it's still very soft, especially after a little bit of break-in time, and does allow for that breathability. So obviously if you want to use these in wet weather, which they're technically not designed for, your feet are going to get wet. But if you're wearing these in a hot indoor environment in particular, having that breathability element I think is fantastic. With the leather itself actually spanning a good majority of the upper, again, kind of similar to what you'll find on something like the Nike Lunar Gato 2, where it fills in the entire forefoot and toe box area and then runs all the way through the midfoot, with the only synthetic area being kind of lower down, which actually does a nice job of giving you some added structure kind of at the base and almost a little bit of arch support in that this synthetic material that they've used here just has that little bit less stretch to it than what you're going to find from this admittedly very soft leather, which from a touch perspective feels fantastic on the ball. I think they nailed the thickness in that it's not too thin, it's not too padded, it just has that nice soft kind of natural feel that I think many people would want from a pair of leather football boots. And also something that so many leather boots tend to get wrong, the tongue itself is also made from the same leather as the rest of the upper. So from a touch perspective, everywhere on the foot that's going to be making contact with the ball consistently is going to have that same feel. The only part that's not leather is here on the lateral side of the foot, where they've emphasized some structure and breathability with this mesh-based textile, but that really doesn't come into play all that much from a feel on the ball perspective, and I actually like the decision to make this section a different material rather than leather all the way through. Around the toe box and forefoot, you are going to find a little bit of a raised rubber lip going all the way around the edge, with the actual traction pattern kind of running up the lip as well. So if you are kind of on the edges of your feet, your chances of slipping are going to be a little bit less just because that traction pattern runs all the way up, which is great also for the sake of durability and just kind of strengthening that bond between the sole and the upper. And then similar to what you'll find from a lot of indoor boots, particularly leather ones, there is kind of that gritty surface texture as an extra layer of material running through the forefoot and toe box area, which does provide some additional grip on the ball if you catch it in that exact spot, but it's there mostly for the sake of protecting the leather in the event that you kind of drag your toe along the surface of the ground. In terms of the design of the upper, like a lot of higher end futsal shoes, they've kept things fairly traditional in terms of giving you that U-throat construction with the standalone tongue and central lacing system, which I think allows for great overall adjustability. Again, we'll talk about this later in the video. The option of a regular as well as wide fit is something that I think is very attractive to the New Balance brand. You won't really find it from any other indoor boot, so that is an awesome feature for somebody in particular that does have super wide feet and struggles to find a comfortable or the proper fit in a pair of indoor boots. At the rear, you're going to find a low cut construction with a hard internal heel counter. You can see there's some texturing here, which relates to a lot of the running shoe design that we've seen from New Balance. They've incorporated here on this indoor boot, which I can't say I'm in love with the look of it, but it's not detrimental to the performance or feel of the boot in any way. And then around the ankle and heel area internally, they've just gone with plenty of padding and this super soft kind of microfiber material, which admittedly is a little bit slippery on socks if you're not wearing grip socks. So I would say that is something that would be recommended, but from a comfort perspective, it feels really, really good. And then the insole, fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a mesh liner on the surface, and then it's made from a really cool looking, almost birthday cake colored kind of spongy foam material that's a little bit thicker than what you'll find on most football boots, but ultimately nothing too fancy. Moving to the base, you're going to find a fresh foam midsole. Again, a type of material that you're typically going to find across the New Balance brand when it comes to their running shoes. They've incorporated it here in a very low profile form factor for the Audazzo V6, where it is admittedly, like most indoor boots, a little bit thicker in the heel than what you'll find in the forefoot, but the drop off in terms of height doesn't seem to be overly significant. For the most part, when you put these on, they feel pretty flat across the bottom of your feet, which is personally something that I like. I don't like it when the heel feels like it's significantly higher than the forefoot. And compared to a lot of indoor shoes where these are definitely more flexible in the forefoot, the underfoot cushioning remains pretty solid here. It doesn't feel like you're running directly on a hard surface without any shoes on at all. So from an underfoot cushion perspective, you get great cushioning or impact protection from the fresh foam without it feeling overly bulky or mushy underfoot. And then of course the indoor bottom, this is only available as an indoor shoe. They don't make a turf version, just for those that are wondering. I love the traction pattern that they've gone for. It kind of has that herringbone basketball style traction pattern about it pretty much all the way through, and the grooves themselves are very deep and aggressive. They run up the edges of the lip like I mentioned earlier. Then you just have this kind of circular, very Samba-esque design right here under the ball of your foot, where for the most part, the traction I thought was fantastic. It also is a very solid rubber that's going to be great in terms of long-term durability. Is it the stickiest compound of rubber I've ever tried? Definitely not, but in terms of just being really well-rounded, as long as you keep it clean, I think this is going to work very well on a wide variety of flat indoor court playing surfaces. Definitely above average in traction and durability, and certainly when compared to the Lunar Gato 2, I think this is significantly better. When it comes to weight, you're probably wondering which of these two is lighter. Both in the same size 10 US using a scale. We'll start off with the Lunar Gato 2. You can see that they weigh in at 9.2 ounces, the equivalent of 261 grams, which is actually very lightweight for an indoor shoe of this style. Then we'll throw on the Audazzo V6 Pro, and you can see that they weigh in at 10.5 ounces, the equivalent of 297 grams, which is nearly 40 grams more than the Nikes, a significant amount of weight for sure. These do feel heavier on feet than the Lunar Gato 2, but from a comfort and certainly a quality perspective, I would say it's pretty much a no competition. This is going to hold up a lot better than these will. It's really the major downfall of the Lunar Gato 2, but if you do want that lighter overall feel, the Nikes over the New Balance would be the better pick. On feet, the Audazzos are super comfortable. The first thing that I think is very noticeable about this is how soft and pliable the upper is. The leather that they've used even though full grain leather doesn't sound like the most premium thing, for $120, these are phenomenal. It's super soft, it's super pliable. I love the fact that the tongue itself is the same leather as the rest of the upper, and it just has a good blend of a nice structured feel in the spots where you want structure without feeling like they're squeezing your foot in any kind of uncomfortable way. Super padded through the heel, a little bit slippery in the heel liner, so again, grip socks I definitely think are recommended for the best possible experience from these boots. And as far as the underfoot cushioning is concerned, the Fresh Foam does a really good job of giving you that impact protection without feeling like they're unstable or mushy in any way. Very consistent across the entire foot, and also super flexible, which is something that I really like from a pair of futsal shoes. When it comes to width, I'm wearing these in the regular width variation, and honestly, they have plenty of width. I think this version is going to be good for the vast majority of people. However, if you really find that your feet are extremely wide and you struggle to fit into most indoor boots, going for that wide fit variation would definitely be a great option for you. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in a size 10 US, which is typically what I wear in most indoor boots because of that rubber lip. And honestly, the fit is great. I love the shaping of the toe box as well. A little bit more width than what you're gonna find from a lot of indoor boots. And personally, for the vast majority, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, the New Balance Odazo V6 Pro genuinely surprised me. I wasn't expecting a lot out of them, but I can honestly say for the price, it genuinely is one of the best indoor boots currently available. But is it better than the Lunar Gato 2, an indoor model so popular that Nike brought it back permanently? And obviously when it comes to weight, this is going to be the lighter overall feel. I'd also make the argument that the leather on the Lunar Gato 2 is just that little bit softer, but other than those two things, in every other performance and quality metric, I really think the Odazo V6 Pro is the better indoor. It's arguably more comfortable, and the option of two different width variations makes them likely the better fit for the vast majority. The touch is more consistent, I think, because of the full leather tongue. The underfoot cushion is arguably a little bit better and certainly more durable than the Lunar Gato 2 and its Lunar Lawn outsole. And from a traction perspective, as well as the durability of the outsole, it is no competition. The Odazo is simply better. And don't get me wrong, I still think these are fantastic indoors. They're genuinely one of my personal favorite to wear. But if you're considering the Lunar Gato, please also consider the Odazo because it's arguably the better boot with the same features.